The Statue of Liberty was built for Egypt, not America. That statue in New York Harbor, the one holding the torch, the one on every postcard, was originally designed to stand at the Suez Canal in Egypt. It was supposed to be a lighthouse, and it was supposed to be an Egyptian peasant woman in traditional Arab clothing, holding a lantern. Everything you've been told about where the Statue of Liberty came from is incomplete, and the real story is far stranger. Here's what most people think happened. France wanted to honor America's commitment to liberty. Sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi designed a goddess of freedom. France and America built it together, and in 1886, Lady Liberty arrived as a gift of friendship. Nice story. Patriotic. Repeated in textbooks for over a century. It's not wrong exactly. France did give the statue to America, but here's what that story leaves out. Bartholdi didn't design it for America, he designed it for Egypt. And when Egypt said no, he changed the costume and tried again. To understand this, go back to 1855. Bartholdi is 21, traveling through Egypt. When he sees the Great Sphinx and the colossal statues at Abu Simbel, something clicks. He writes to his mother about their imperturbable majesty, these massive, vertical, eternal figures that define entire landscapes. He realizes this is what he wants to create. Not small salon sculptures, monuments, giants. He just needs a patron with a coastline. Enter the Suez Canal. By the 1860s, France is building the Suez Canal, the engineering marvel of the century, physically separating Africa from Asia. And Bartholdi sees it as the perfect stage for his colossus. Egypt at the time is ruled by Khedive Ismail, a modernizing autocrat desperate to prove Egypt belongs to the Western world. He's the exact patron who might pay for a giant statue. So Bartholdi pitches him. The canal entrance needs a monument that rivals the pyramids, a colossus of the 19th century. Between 1867 and 1869, he creates detailed sketches and clay models of what this statue should look like. A monumental woman, standing on a pedestal, right arm raised, holding a lantern, left arm lowered. Sound familiar? But she's not wearing Roman robes. She's wearing a thob, the loose robe worn by Egyptian peasants. Instead of a radiate crown, she wears a headcloth. She's an Egyptian fella. The statue has a name, Egypt Carrying the Light to Asia, and it's functional. The lantern is a real lighthouse guiding ships into the canal. Bartholdi works out the engineering, hammered copper sheets on an iron skeleton. Height, 86 feet. Cost, 600,000 francs. He just needs the Khedive to say yes. November 1869. The Suez Canal opens with fireworks, opera, European royalty. Bartholdi is there, waiting. But his statue isn't. Because Khedive Ismail says no. The canal construction has bankrupted Egypt. When faced with a functional lighthouse costing 30,000 francs versus Bartholdi's colossus at 600,000 francs, the bankrupt ruler chooses the cheaper option. Bartholdi writes to his mother, "The Khedive is a man of impulses, and the impulse has passed. The project is dead." He returns to France with his sketches and his unbuilt dream. But he doesn't abandon the design. He stores it and waits. Then 1870 changes everything. France loses the Franco-Prussian War. The empire collapses. Bartholdi's home province of Alsace is annexed by Germany. He's no longer just an artist. He's an exile. His focus shifts from progress to liberty. He reconnects with Édouard René de la Boulaye, a French scholar who admires America. With the U.S. centennial approaching in 1876, La Boulaye wants a gesture linking the French Republic with the American one, maybe a statue? Bartholdi sees his chance. He has a design. He has the engineering. He just needs a new location and a new meaning. In 1871, he sails to New York. The sketches in his portfolio, the ones he made for Egypt. So how do you turn an Egyptian peasant into the goddess of liberty? You change her clothes. The headcloth comes off. In its place, a radiate crown with 7 rays, representing the 7 seas and continents. The Arab peasant robe is replaced with Roman goddess robes, classical flowing drapery. The lantern becomes a symbolic torch of enlightenment. The left hand, passive in the Egyptian version, now holds a tablet inscribed with July 4th, 1776. But the skeleton stays the same. The engineering Bartholdi designed for Suez becomes the structure for New York. Gustave Eiffel, yes, that Eiffel, creates the iron truss. The skeleton of Suez becomes the bones of liberty. Even the pose is identical. The arm angle, the weight distribution, the vertical thrust. Put the 1869 Suez model next to the 1886 New York statue. It's the same woman, just different clothes. There's one more detail. In the original American design, she held broken chains in her hand to symbolize the end of slavery. But that was deemed too controversial for donors. So Bartholdi moved the chains to her feet, hiding them under her hem, just like he hid her Egyptian origins under Roman robes. Is this speculation? The sculptor himself tried to claim that. In 1885, as the statue became an American icon, Bartholdi wrote that his Suez project had nothing in common with the Statue of Liberty. Historians don't buy it. The models exist. They're in the Musée Bartholdi in Colmar, France. The visual evidence is undeniable. The pose is identical. The engineering is identical. Only the surface details changed. Bartholdi wasn't lying from shame. He was protecting his creation. He knew that if Americans discovered their beloved statue was a recycled, rejected Egyptian lighthouse, designed for a Muslim ruler's canal project, it might damage its reputation. So he buried the connection. But here's the thing. The Egyptian origin doesn't diminish the Statue of Liberty. It makes it more powerful. Because the Statue of Liberty is an immigrant. She's a refugee from a failed Middle Eastern project who crossed the Atlantic to find a new home. She had to change her name, change her clothes, adapt to a new culture to be accepted. And when she arrived in New York Harbor, she became the mother of exiles, welcoming millions of immigrants through Ellis Island. She wasn't just welcoming them, she was one of them. That's poetic justice. The statue representing the American dream had to reinvent herself to survive. She had to transform. And maybe that's the most American thing about her. If Khedive Ismail had managed his money better, this statue would be in Port Said right now. The world's symbol of Western freedom would be in Egypt. New York Harbor might be empty, but Egypt said no. And Bartholdi took his giant woman across the ocean and gave her a second chance. So next time you see the Statue of Liberty, in a photo, on a postcard, in a movie, remember, she was built for Egypt. Designed as a peasant woman in Arab clothing holding a lantern for the Suez Canal. When that fell through, she became something else, a symbol of liberty and democracy. Not because that was the plan, but because a French sculptor refused to let his dream die. The Statue of Liberty is a palimpsest. Beneath the Roman robes and American ideals, there's still an Egyptian woman carrying the light. And now you'll never see her the same way again.